left the country that they were born in,
Right.
came here, eloped, got their shit together, and bought a house for them to fix.
Yeah.
While there are people who are here who have been here their entire fucking lives that bitch and complain that they don't have opportunity to do shit.
The way that you maintain a relationship as marriage is that you be upfront about your mental illnesses. When you recognize your patterns of your mental illness, you need to let your partner know. I want Texas cheese fries today.
I want you to sit on my...
What did he say?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, adults of all ages, welcome to the Sideshow.
And it's been a while since we used the sideshow intro.
It has been a hot minute.
We are really trying to change the format of the things that we do.
We are.
And I really like the other intro better, the one with the Western sounding theme to it. Like, I enjoy that music more than the other two podcasts or two intros. But when we really get situated, we need to buckle down on that and focus on getting new sound set up for each thing and new actual intros going.
Okay.
Even if they don't show pictures of us and it's just like a TV static or something. I don't know. Like, we could really just get creative with it and do something fun. But
That's exciting.
it is, because it's just evolution. So we're not going to get into a whole lot because we've been recording all day. So like all the stuff that we want to say, we've already said on other episodes. There's no point in getting into it. But we are changing the format. It's going to be that the podcast is going to be emails. The side piece is going to be a discussion topic. And the sideshow is under development. It's going to end up having a whole new name. It's not going to be the sideshow anymore when we get to that point. But we have to figure out what we're going to do. And right now it looks like we're leaning towards books. But we're not there yet. So
Right.
because we're not there yet, we're going to read thank you emails and go over a couple things that came through today. Well, one that definitely came through today. I don't know about the other ones. You picked them all out. I just picked the first one.
You want to just get into it?
Sure, why not?
So this is called Live Stream Question Follow-Up. Hi, I recently discovered your podcast and have binged every episode. Sideshow and Reacts because I just love your content. Blows my mind that people are already going to the Reacts channel.
I'm glad that they're going to the Reacts channel because we're almost able to monetize that channel. We need like 60 subscribers and like 2,000 hours of watch time.
Yeah.
Getting the watch time will be easy. There's enough people in Discord that if I'm like, all right, guys, we're there. Like, we have the subscriber count. Now we have to get the watch hours. They'll watch the shit.
Oh, yeah. They're dedicated.
We could do something really stupid where we do like the one chip challenge or do like a, eat a ghost pepper or something really, really fucking stupid, or like post your Navage nose waterboarding. People will watch that shit over and over and over again because it's funny.
Yeah.
But it'll drive views, and that'll get us to our hours so that we can monetize that channel and then start doing other content that's not To Be Better content, but more like, us just being us and having discussions, and like we could react to like music and react to YouTube videos and
That'd be dope.
news. And
We also have an age gap. I'm 30 years old and my husband is 40. We dated for 5 years and have been married for 6. The other day, I watched my first live stream where I asked a question that was answered at the end, and after Peach's response, I've been doing some introspection. Introspection, I like that word.
yeah,
It's a nice word.
delving inward.
My question had to do with the gwilt.
The quilts. Is that like the comfortable quilt of guilt that you just wear over you to keep you warm in your own victimization?
You complete me.
Is that you telling me that I'm special and that I need a handicap sticker?
No, that's me saying that I said something absolutely asinine and you just ran with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it worked. It worked. My question had to do with the guilt of not bringing an income as a stay-at-home wife and letting my husband bring the income for all of the bills. Peach's response was quick and straight to the point. She simply stated that she doesn't feel guilty about not bringing in an income because she brings other non-monetary contributions. No way, I just said that.
You really did just say that.
Contributions.
Greetings and contributations. Instead of salutations. I think I'm going to do that on the next one. Greetings and salutations. Instead of and we're back.
I love that.
You've seen Demolition Man, right?
No.
With Wesley Snipes.
No.
And are you fucking kidding me? How have
We
we
go
not
through
watched
this
that?
every
How have we
time.
not watched that? Where Stallone was the biggest he's ever been. He tore his bicep like 2 or 3 times training for that movie.
Oh, is that the one with Sandra Bullock?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we did see that one.
Greetings and salutations. Where they don't touch each other? Okay.
Yeah, I do remember that. Because he had a moment because there was no toilet paper.
Yeah, the 3 seashells.
Yeah.
Okay.
I still don't understand the 3 seashells.
Neither did he, apparently. We need to see, that's the kind of shit that we can like react to.
Okay.
And like we can watch a movie and take notes and then talk about it on the Reacts channel.
That would be fun.
We could.
I say some really off the wall shit when we watch movies.
Right. Yep, we could.
I'm such good company. I need you to agree with me, please.
No.
Why do I want to say thank you? She simply stated that she doesn't feel guilty about not bringing in income because she brings other non-monetary contributions.
That you just read. You had to read it twice to make up for the contributions.
Contribution. Yes. Oh, I added an additional A and T in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That are just as important to keeping the household running.
Like laughter.
A happy house is one full of laughter.
Yeah, there you go.
I am the heart of this home.
Yep.
Oh, thank you. This really changed my perspective on the situation, so thank you. I'm providing some background to the question so you both understand it better. My husband and I both worked really hard when we first moved to the U.S. My husband and I both worked really hard when we first moved to the U.S. to get to where we are today. He started as a dishwasher, and I was a nanny and retail employee.
Pause. Two things. I just had an epiphany.
Ooh.
That I need to share because it's kind of like a holy shit moment.
Okay.
She interacted with us on a live stream.
Right.
You answered very short, matter of fact.
Yes.
Definitive. And that was the end of it.
Yeah.
I don't remember the question. I couldn't tell you what live stream it was on. We were just interacting with people who were interacting with us.
I want to say it was this last love language.
Could have been. I don't know.
Because I do recall answering this.
But that interaction was so prevalent for her that she felt the need to sit down and type out an email to explain the question and her situation to us.
I love that.
So when you think about it, like, we haven't put any thought into that beyond the interaction.
Mm-hmm.
She has been thinking about it since then. That one sentence affected her life so much that days after the live stream, she sat down and typed out a long ass email to talk to us.
That's crazy.
It is. So
That is.
I'm
It's
over
really
here. I'm over
wild.
here messing with my fidget spinner, and I'm having that thought process. I'm like, how fucking wild is that? That we answered a question nonchalant, just boom to the fact next, and like, we have been living in her headspace since that moment
Wow.
to the point where she needed to sit down and write us an email. She could have never sent another email. We would have never thought about that. That is not something I've ever thought about since it happened. I didn't commit it to memory. It was just like,
It was just another question.
here's your question. Here's your answer. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that I wanted to say is that when you look at what America is and the amount of people who have the privilege of being born here that squander it and hate the politics and hate the, the way the system is set up and want to rewrite the Constitution and all of that bullshit. You have people like that woman and her husband who move here from another country and thrive and do very well for themselves and have opportunity here that they would have otherwise not had.
Because they know what it's like outside of here.
Right. I was thinking about that too when she said that they both came here to the U.S. and they both started off with nothing.
Yeah. He got the opportunity to apply to the USPS and got the job a couple of months before our wedding.
Government work.
Oh, yeah. My sister's
Person.
I don't know where they stand engagement-wise. I'm just going to call him the fiance.
Okay.
So my sister's fiance works for the Postal Service. He gets paid stupid good money.
Yeah, benefits, government benefits go a long way.
His overtime is good too, from my understanding. We decided to elope and skip the honeymoon to save for a house, which we got the down payment on a very well-priced... Whoa. We decided to elope and skip the honeymoon to save for a house, which we got the down payment on a very well-priced fixer-upper.
Yep.
That's a lot of dedication.
So they
right.
came here, eloped, got their shit together, and bought a house for them to fix.
Yeah.
While there are people who are here who have been here their entire fucking lives that bitch and complain that they don't have opportunity to do shit.
Right.
You fucking look at any immigrant that has come here and made something of themselves and tell them that you don't have any opportunity, and they'll fucking laugh at you.
Yep.
I've done research. The people that live here, first generation, that like come over here and make generational wealth because of their work ethic is fucking insane.
Yeah. Everything was going great until my husband suddenly ended up in the hospital with 2 life-saving surgeries.
Rough.
We were still waiting for him to qualify for his job insurance, so at that very moment we had no insurance at all.
Rough.
I don't even have to talk about the high cost of healthcare in this country to let you know how it affected us.
Yep. You know why the healthcare is so expensive here? Because the government got involved in insurance.
Yeah.
Yep. Glenn Beck wrote a book, whether you like Glenn Beck or not, whether you like his politics or his standpoints or his religion or whatever it is, he wrote a book called Arguing with Socialists. And he breaks all that down. He breaks down how the college debt started. He talks about how the medical thing has gotten to where it is and how all of these social programs is the reason why everything is so expensive. And the only people that benefit from that is the fucking government on both sides. Yep.
I grew up very poor, so I'm used to going by with scraps, but my struggle was emotional. My dad was diabetic, who spent more time in the hospital than at home, and my childhood is plastered with memories of visiting my father at the hospital.
That's why I have a hard time with hospitals.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of my mom and all the shit that she went through when I was little.
I believe that.
It's just very traumatizing for a kid. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like, whenever I go to the hospital and they do my blood pressure medicine, like they do the cuff, when I first get there, it's always high as fuck. But if I've been there for a few hours and I've had time to acclimate to being in there and I calm down, it's always normal. But I get a spike in all of that when I get there.
Yeah. I've seen my mom struggle to take care of my sick father while trying to make ends meet as a stay-at-home mom. At least my mom had family around her to help, but we are alone in this country. I had no one to help me. I had to quit my job to help my husband recover. Our savings disappeared quickly because none of us were working. This was the hardest moment of my life, and I was going through it alone, which impacted my mental health and sent me to a very dark place.
Did you go through it alone?
Had your husband.
You had your husband. You guys went through that together.
Yeah.
That's marriage. All that good time, of life being great, that's not marriage. That's existing together. Your life is dope. Having a friendship doesn't mean shit in good times.
Right.
Same thing with a relationship. Your relationship being amazing in amazing times doesn't mean anything. What you do and the things that you overcome in your hardships is what's going to define your marriage. It's not a marriage if it's convenient.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good sentence.
I think so.
I like that. That just washed over me like a cool misting spray by the ocean. That was good.
Like you just opened one of those sodas in the 80s
Yeah.
commercials. I'm glad that you caught the reference because I couldn't think of the soda. All I could picture is the commercial.
Right. I think it was a Pepsi commercial.
I don't know. It was bad. Looking back on
Yeah.
it, it was really bad. They would open the top and it would just show the waves of like really bad CGI editing and shit. It was horrible.
My husband recovered and went back to work, slowly and with a lot of intention on every penny we made. And with a lot of intention on every penny we made. I don't understand that.
So he was being very intentional with the money that he was making and what he was doing with it. They were saving,
Gotcha.
they were paying debts, like they were not being, they were staying on top of what they were doing.
Good. We got back on our feet, and today I can say we have fully paid off the house with no mortgage.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
But then I lost my job when everything closed due to COVID, and for the first time I was a stay-at-home wife. Even if I was lost at first with trial and error, I have a routine today where I can take care of the house and run any needed errands with plenty of time for self-care and exercise. I love that.
Yeah.
I have to reschedule everything in my life because this podcast is really taking off. What?
It really does. Like it really is a reschedule everything.
It is.
Yep.
So I'm changing my workout days now. I am rearranging how I'm cleaning the house. I'm taking up plant care from one of my self-care needs. That's going to be like my one hobby outside of the podcast I'm going to do. So I have to integrate that, and
Yeah.
I have to figure out the women's group, and I have to now read books because we're going to do that for the sideshow.
Well, the sideshow doesn't have to go that route. It can.
I would like it to.
Right. It's just, like I said, it's just more, like you were saying, it's just more things. I don't think people realize how much work goes into all this.
Right.
You know, when you watch it for an hour or 2 or 3, it's a good way to kill time while you're doing stuff at work. We have to actually record it. Then we have to edit it. Then we have to create clips and, like, not to mention all the prep work that goes into it. It is a lot. I enjoy it. I'm not complaining about it being a lot, but it is actually absolutely making us change our life schedules around to make it work.
My biggest struggle is that anytime money gets a little tight, I feel immensely guilty because I'm no longer contributing monetarily like I was before. It's not because my husband tells me to get a job. He actually prefers me to stay at home and run the household. But I do have childhood memories of my father complaining about finances and whining on how he was the only breadwinner of the house. So I feel like my husband secretly feels this way, even if he doesn't tell me. Do you think that's something that she has to overcome on her own?
Well, I mean, I think she needs to talk to him about it.
Yeah.
And I also think that it's healthy for him to, in the event that stress happens, to complain to her about it. And not complain to her because she's not working, but to vent. Like, we need to have that.
The back and
You
forth.
you got this. Like, things are tight right now. If we have to make sacrifices and eat ramen this week, so be it. Like, we've been through so much worse. We've got this. Like, sometimes you just need that pep talk. And in that pep talk's probably not going to do anything, but it may make you feel better the next day. Like,
right.
you know, or at least if nothing else, it'll let it'll let you know that your person knows that you're going through it.
Sometimes it just feels good to say it out loud.
Right. Yep, I agree.
Getting the things out of your head lifts a lot of weight. But after Peach's response, I sat down and deeply thought about it. I do contribute in other ways. I keep the house clean. I cook dinner almost every night. And I make sure all the bills are paid on time, and I run any errand my husband needs me to run. And even if it's not a sustainable income, I do make some extra dollars doing online gigs, which I use to get small things like self-care, my phone bill, and the occasional DoorDash.
That helps.
Yeah.
You are contributing more than just that. If you're using that money for DoorDash and your self-care, like, that's a big deal.
That could be eliminating $600 a month for him.
It could. Yeah, it could.
Yeah.
It goes a long way. You guys are a fucking team. These are the kind of emails that I enjoy getting when there's thank yous. Like, people when people send an email, because we get them a lot, it's like 4 sentences. Hey, you guys, I love your show. You've really impacted my life. I just want to say thank you. Mm-hmm. Dope. I'm glad we impacted your life. But, like, how did I impact your life? How did she impact your life? What did we say that was that pivotal aha moment? What was it? How did it affect you? Like, that back and forth makes me feel like I'm connected to these people.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's just a thank you from a stranger.
I like the situation. I like knowing the situation beforehand, too.
Right.
Like, this is what happened leading up to hearing this, and this is how it changed my life. Right. The more I think about it, the more I realize I need to start working on my feminine side because I never thought I would enjoy the role as much as I do. I love being a stay-at-home wife. Thanks to Peach's response and the rest of the podcast, I realize I have to learn how to let go of things that are no longer my responsibility, like where the money will come from, and focus on the things that are my responsibility now, like managing my household and serving my husband.
Ooh.
I love it when people say that.
I do too.
I had a comment on my TikTok this morning. I can't remember which TikTok it was, but it's one where I say that I enjoy serving you.
Yeah.
And some girl commented and said she had me up until she said serving him. That made me nauseous.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Go throw up.
What else would you call that?
People get hung up on shit because they don't want to fall into a category that makes them feel like they're less than, or they don't have their independence because they're told they have to be an independent woman.
That's crazy.
To not understand what we are saying and hold a negative connotation to the word serve or submit is a you problem. And if that bothers you, cool. I'm glad it bothers you. Maybe you should do some research and see why it bothers you. Because is it something that really bothers you, or is it something that bothers you because you've been told to make it bother you? It's like people who get upset when you say the word moist. And they're like, oh my God, that word is so gross. You heard somebody else say that shit. The word is not gross. It's a fucking word. People are like, oh my God, I'm scared of clowns. Are you really? Or is everyone that you fucking know scared of clowns, so you're just jumping on that bandwagon? Are you really a feminist, or is everyone that you know a feminist or claiming to be, so you're jumping on that bandwagon? When was the last time you had original thought?
That's a good question.
when we have these videos and we post these clips and we're saying provocative things and we're saying things that are designed to create a dialogue and to make people think, if you're one of those people who are like, oh, I was vibing with this until you said that one word, well, cool. It's good to know that your emotional maturity is not there yet. Like, come back in a couple of years when you're able to process your shit and let me know why you're triggered. How did that being triggered serve you in the moment? Other than make you feel a certain way? Did you go to the internet and like search around to see why it was bothering you? Did you get on YouTube to try to figure out what your problem is? Or did you just go ooh and keep scrolling?
That's what I do.
You go ooh and keep scrolling?
Yeah, I go, this isn't for me. And I actually click the little 3 dots and go not interested.
Yeah.
And then things like that just don't pop up in my feed anymore. It's crazy how you can cultivate your algorithm.
Yeah, when things bother me that I hear people say, I want to know why it bothers me. It's like the word narcissist bothered the shit out of me. So I went down a rabbit hole of what narcissism actually is. And now the word really bothers me.
All right, so this one is called Thank You in all caps.
So they're excited.
Just want to drop a quick email to say thank you for all the work you do. I live in New Zealand. I'm 25 and married to an amazing man who is 27, and we have a 1.5-year-old daughter. I count myself lucky as my husband and I have always had a genuinely healthy and happy relationship. We dated for 5 years and have been married now for an additional 2 years. We loosely live by traditional values and gender roles. I am able and welcome to work if I want. I actually work 1 day a fortnight currently, just for fun and a little extra spending money. For those of you who don't know, a fortnight is 14 days.
Yep.
But I find that I am happiest and most fulfilled when I'm at home caring for the house and my little one. Your podcast has been such a blessing. I have it going while I'm driving, cleaning my house, organizing things, etc., and it is so encouraging. I wonder what part about us is encouraging, because I look back on all of the podcasts and it's just a bunch of debauchery and aggressive love. Like, where's the encouragement? What about us screams, you got this?
I think it's that she gets validation in knowing that she's not the only one out there who lives this lifestyle.
Okay.
And seeing the podcast and the comments on TikTok and the comments on YouTube and realizing that there's even a community now on Patreon. This is becoming a normal thing for people. And when you feel like that outcast and you realize there's a whole fucking community of people who feel that way, you don't feel alone anymore. And it lets you be a little bit more proud about things. You know what I mean?
Have you ever seen that meme of somebody holding water in their hands and there's another person drinking water from that person's hand and they're, yes, Philip, drink up?
I have not seen that.
That's how I feel right now. I'm going to have to find it and show it to you.
Okay.
I come from a broken home, and my childhood and teenage years were a wild ride filled with lots of drinking, drugs, sex, and mental illness. I found Jesus maybe 7 years ago, around the time my husband turned up in my life, and it turned my life around. I am trying so hard not to laugh. None of that is funny. She said all of that, and then she said, I found Jesus, and in Discord, there's that little frog holding the cross saying, you need Jesus. And that's all I'm picturing right now. And it is not appropriate for the scenario, but my autism is telling me I have to say it before I can move on from it.
Okay.
Not with...
She found Jesus around the same time she met her husband?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's crazy how that works.
Isn't it? It's almost like God had a plan for you.
I have goosebumps. Not without work, obviously, but who I am today versus who I was 10 years ago is day and night. I feel that.
That's how it should be.
I still have things to work on to get to where I really want to be personally. Just minor hurts and hang-ups. Nothing that actually affects our relationship so much. I have found so much wisdom and practical applications for my life listening to you talk. It has really encouraged me to be the best version of myself for my partner and to actively put him first, as well as given me ideas for what I can work on in my future. A really great saying I heard somewhere is that your partner is your number one, and as a team together, your number one is your child or children. Does that make sense to you?
Nope.
So what she's saying is when you put your partner first, vice versa, your combined priority is the children.
Right.
That's what she's saying.
Okay. That makes sense.
Which really rings true and is something you two are constantly talking about. I've implemented the following to try and level up our relationship. I started cooking every meal for him and making sure it's ready and served. I used to only do dinners consistently, but now I find real joy in making sure he has a good breakfast and lunch each day.
I fucking love that.
I started looking at doing my chores and allocated tasks more consistently, daily versus weekly, and taking into account the way our living space looks so the house is always fairly tidy and his workspace is clean and decluttered.
Which means he's going to come home from work every day to a clean house, which is just going to increase the peacefulness of his castle when he comes into it.
Yep. I have taken lots of notes on increasing intimacy and being more present for him, taking better notes of his likes and dislikes, and being engaged and an active participant in conversations regarding those topics.
I can tell she's really paid attention to the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
She's using terms like present and engaged.
Yep. Plus a whole heap of other things that I won't list just for time's sake. There has definitely been a change in my husband after leveling up my side of the relationship.
Because women control the intimacy in the relationship.
Yes, and it only takes one of you to start stepping up your game for the other one to follow suit.
Yep.
It's a change. There is a change in frequency of what's happening, and people are going to tune into that frequency and go, this is new.
Yep.
I like this. How do we keep this going? He is so attentive and actively seeks tasks that he can help me with. He is so motivated to work on his new business and grateful for the work I do with the home and our baby. Your podcast has also really given me the confidence that further down the line, if problems were to arise, we would be able to work through it in a confident and productive manner.
Love that.
These videos have also helped me to see the flip side of the relationship. I can really put myself into his shoes and see situations and issues from his perspective, which helps any discussions that do arise. You guys are truly doing an amazing thing. You guys are truly doing an amazing thing here. I hope that you find joy and fulfillment in this and that the podcast continues as long as you are able to sustain it mentally, spiritually, or physically. It isn't an easy job by any means, but man, does it have value. It's an amazing resource for people who are looking to improve their relationships and themselves. I recommend it to all my friends and family. Thanks
that.
again.
So you recommending our podcast is how we're going to grow, and it's what's going to keep us here.
That is correct.
The more people that subscribe to our YouTube and subscribe to the podcast online and even to the Patreon and Discord is going to continue to grow our, I hate to say following because it sounds like we're doing more than we are, but it is creating a following online that allows us to do this full time.
Yep.
I don't know. There's a lot there. The fact that she finds so much value that she shares this with everyone that she can says a lot.
It does. You know, that really solidifies for me. Because I know people who are like, you need to listen to this. It's going to change your life.
Yeah.
And until you're ready to hear that message, you're going to be like, okay, that's annoying.
That's true.
But being that person and be like, you need to listen to this. This is going to change your life. That just means that we are really doing the thing.
Yeah.
Be that annoying person, because people who are ready to hear it are going to hear it, and they're going to contribute the changes in their life to you for being able to share that with them.
You know, it's crazy when you really think about it. The people that are actually in our lives, like the people who are truly in our lives, don't support our podcast.
Yeah.
Like there's very few people that actually listen to our shit on a regular basis that are close to us. Mm-hmm. For the most part, they don't. This is not something that they do.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Do you want to do another one?
Yeah, I mean, we're only 30 minutes in, so.
So this one is called Realizing I Was the Problem and a Thank You. It's a hard thing, realizing that everything was not as you thought it was. I spent my entire life thinking that I just got along better with females. I thought for a long time that I was simply more in tune with my feminine side than the other guys around me. I was emotionally open and vulnerable all the time. Eventually, I got burned too many times to keep being so open and vulnerable, but I never stopped having at least a couple of friends, female friends, in my circle until recently. My wife and I am a male 29 as of writing this email, and she is 28, have been married for 9 years coming this April, and we have had our fair share of problems. Between learning each other's idiosyncrasies,
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
A mode of behavior or way of thought peculiar to an individual. One of his little idiosyncrasies was always preferring to be in the car first.
Okay.
A distinctive or peculiar feature or characteristic of a place or thing.
Gotcha.
And in medicine, an abnormal physical reaction by an individual to a food or drug.
Okay, so like they're quirks.
Yeah.
Between learning each other's idiosyncrasies and home life habits and getting married just before I finished my military A school. I was in the Navy for 6 years as a hospital corpsman. Hospital corpsman?
Gorman, yeah.
Corpsman. I was in the Navy for 6 years as a hospital corpsman. There were fights and communication breakdowns, and we have spent the length of our marriage working through all of that and learning how to communicate with each other. That's dedication.
Yep.
She has always been more traditional than me, at least until recently. She was never really okay with my female friends, and I never understood this. To me, they were just friends, and she was being ridiculous and paranoid. At times, I even accused her of being insecure and untrusting. I was wrong for this. It is clear to me now that she was always right, and your podcast has helped me see this. That these females that I was being a friend to were using me for their own validation and nothing more. In retrospect, every single one of them ghosted me the moment that I was no longer a source of reassurance or pandering to helping my friends feel better when they were in bad situations. I shared details of my marriage and emotional state with these friends more than with my wife at times, and it is only with clarity that listening to your podcast. I shared details of my marriage and emotional state with these friends more than with my wife at times, and it is only with the clarity that listening to your podcast that I realize how bad I fucked up with that. I'm glad you realized.
Yeah.
I would have massive issues if you had like 3 or 4 female friends who only reached out to you to get validation.
Yeah.
Like, am I wrong for talking to this man and ghosting him? Am I lovable? Am I just not attractive? That would be an issue. I say recently because just a week or 2 ago, someone who I thought was truly a friend ghosted me the moment that I tried to pass on some of the advice that I heard from you two and suggested that she listen to your podcast for a better explanation. I haven't heard from her since, and I thought she was different. I thought that I was different and trusting her, but I wasn't, and she wasn't. And I am simply done with that whole prospect. A part of me died that day because I realized what was happening, what had happened, and that I had allowed yet another emotionally manipulative female into my life, regardless of what my intentions were. That's the kind of accountability that I love. It doesn't matter what your intentions were. If somebody comes into your life and they have foul intentions and you allow it to happen, that's a problem. You seem bored.
No, I mean, there's a thank you email, so there's not a whole lot that I can get into with this, and like you are covering the things that I want to talk about, so there's no point in me jumping in and doing that. I do think that we should read a regular email though after this to call it, you know what I mean, like to wrap up our night.
To answer questions?
Yeah, just to do a regular email. That way we can do 3 thank yous in a regular email.
Okay.
That way, because, you know, the emails get exhausting after a while. And if we're going to record tomorrow and we've got fucking 10 emails to do, and we did a 3-hour episode tonight of emails, by midday tomorrow, we're going to be exhausted.
Okay.
So this is a nice little change of pace, I think. Definitely not bored. I like hearing that people listen to our shit and it's changing their lives. Mm-hmm. I like that he was able to, I'm willing to bet that in that scenario that person was being a victim.
Yeah.
And he's like, you need to take some fucking accountability. You're playing the victim role, and they got butthurt and refused to listen to the email or the podcast, and now they don't want to talk to him.
Yeah, when you stop enabling a victim mentality, they cut you off real quick.
Yeah, because they're not getting that energy pool that they're trying to get.
Yeah. I want Texas cheese fries tonight.
I want you to sit on my...
I very nearly cried when I realized that my wife has had to put up with all of these years. I nearly cried when I realized what my wife has had to put up with all these years, at the same time that I realized that none of these bitches gave a single flying fuck about me. Yeah, I can imagine that's a devastating one.
The real question is did you apologize to your wife?
I hope so. That's the same feeling that women get when they realize that dudes are only their friends because they hope that one day that woman's going to say, yeah, let's fuck.
Yeah, but that's most men.
That doesn't make it okay.
No, I know that, but that's most men. What do men and women really have in common with each other? Like, I'm not saying that there can't be men and women that are friends.
Right.
But in terms of, like, real life scenarios, men and women don't have a lot in common and, like, need to hang out. There's always an attraction there. Right.
Yeah. I was only causing my wife turmoil, and for what? Just to be a utility for these other females? And I gladly let it happen. No more. I'm taking my role as the man of the house more seriously than I already did.
Good.
I am the sole income, and she stays home with the kids and pets. She does everything at home. There are truly only a few things she has asked me to pick up slack-wise on now. There are only a few things she has asked me to pick up slack on, and nowadays I am more than happy to help. I now realize that I can trust her implicitly. I thought I did before, but I didn't. I was trusting her only as far as it suited the lie I was telling myself. I'm going to read that again. I was trusting her only as far as it suited the lie I was telling myself. That's crazy.
Yeah, I still want to know if he apologized.
I don't know. Let's find out.
Because that accountability isn't shit if you don't make change. And it sounds like he's making change, but that change also comes with an apology.
Right. And I'm so happy and thankful to have come across your podcast, because without Chris spitting straight truth directly into my ears and Peaches being the example that she is, I don't know if I would have ever been able to pull my head out of my ass. I love that you two are doing this. You are making a difference. And I'm an artist. I know in one episode that Chris said to tell him about the stuff, so I do this. I know in one episode that Chris said to tell him about that stuff, so I will attach a couple drawings I am proud of.
Is that the one that's got the sketches of us on it?
No, this one is not.
Oh.
But there are.
Oh, wow, he's good.
Yeah.
It's dope. Where did he say he was? That wasn't the New Zealand. That was the last one, right?
The last one was New Zealand. This one doesn't have location.
We should send him in the P.O. box. We should start sending our P.O. box to people who write into us that are artists and say that are giving us thank yous and be like, create some art for our podcast room.
Okay, so I'm moving it to cherry picked.
Okay.
So you can do that.
Okay.
I hope he apologized.
It's 8:00. So if we do one email, that'll put this one at almost 2 hours.
Okay.
And then we can, if we do a good email, obviously it could put us at close to 2 hours because we're at 45 minutes right now. Those thank you emails feel good to read.
Yeah, they do.
You know what I mean? Like we know that we're making change because we hear it all the time, especially in Discord. Like the people they really tell us like, you guys are really, you have no idea how much you're changing our lives, blah, blah, blah.
That just blows my mind.
Right. Cause I don't feel like it. You know what I mean? I don't see
We literally
you.
just sit down
Right.
and have conversations with one another. We are not there to see what the situation was beforehand, what you've implemented and how it's changed.
Right. We don't witness it.
Yeah, so it's really just, we don't know how life-altering it is because we're not in your situation.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine.
It is hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine that us having a conversation is that impactful to somebody that it fixes their marriage or makes them want to be the breadwinner or makes them want to solidify their business. You know what I mean? It's just weird.
It's crazy to think that me just saying definitively that I don't feel bad about not contributing monetarily wise because I know what I do in the house matters.
Yeah.
She sent us an email about that, how that changed her whole perspective on everything. And I just said one sentence.
Yep.
That's crazy.
You shouldn't feel bad about that. All you stay-at-homes should never feel bad about not contributing financially because the things that you do, especially when you have kids, like, I don't know, man, it just means so much more.
Yeah.
It really fucking does. And like the moms being able to be present in their kids' lives and be a role model and have that like parent raising them versus a school system or a daycare, like, or like a nanny or a grandma, you know, it means a lot. You know what I mean? Watching you run around here and play with the kids, you know, that's not something parents do anymore. They sit on their phone and ignore their kids, and then their kids grow up in front of the TV or a tablet or a video game.
Makes me feel good when you talk about me running around and playing with the kids.
It's important.
I feel like I don't do enough. I feel like I could be doing more.
Yeah. You're very active with the kids.
I try to be. All right, this one is no subject.
Okay.
Hi, I found you guys on TikTok, and I immediately followed and gorged myself with your content.
Did you gorge it on YouTube?
I believe so. I think that what you guys are doing is so great. With that said, I need some advice. Skipping that sentence because it's a warning about how it's a long email, and it is not. My husband and I have been married for a little over 2 years and together for almost 3.
So they got married in the obsessive honeymoon phase.
Correct. We got married super quick.
Yes, you did.
Started seeing each other in July of 2020 and were married by December.
Wow.
We actually met in high school, and I'm 2 years older. All the girls.
So they're young too.
It does not say their ages.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Details matter.
they do. All the girls in my class thought he was so cute, and I thought that they were weird for it. Now look at us. I was a divorced mom with 2 young girls when we connected through Snapchat. From the jump, he has really become more of a father to them than their biological dad. It's to the point to where their bio dad has pretty much relinquished any authority when it comes to decision making or anything else because he sees my husband and I as the sole people responsible for raising my oldest girls. My oldest daughter was diagnosed with cancer last year, but she is in remission now. That's dope. During her treatment, my husband and I were pretty much in a long-distance relationship because my oldest and I were at a hospital 4 hours from home. He tried to be there as much as work allowed him, which I'll never be able to thank him enough for. The situation has made us a lot stronger, but in a way it really affected our relationship. Things are mostly normal now, but my husband is a functioning alcoholic. I believe when my daughter was diagnosed and he was home alone due to having to work, he drank a lot. I'm sure he was depressed, lonely, scared, etc. Drinking doesn't affect his parenting, and it doesn't affect work.
Yet.
Or it does, and you're just not seeing the effects of it yet.
Right, because it will.
Yeah. He can just become a huge jerk once he reaches a certain level of drunkenness. Some of the things he jokingly says are so harsh and rude, or he can get a little sloppy. I've asked him to get help. I've tried to communicate about it. I've tried everything I know to do. But it's also triggering for me because my ex-husband is also an alcoholic, and it was hell on earth. I still talk about that marriage in therapy. It was the lowest point of my life. How can I handle this? My husband says he doesn't understand why he needs to stop because it doesn't bother anyone. Although that may be true until he gets a little too drunk and is mean.
So pause, because obviously it does bother someone because you're writing emails to strangers on the internet.
Right. Somebody doesn't have to be drunk to the point that they're being mean or they are no longer in control of their actions. Just being a sloppy, authoritative figure in front of a child is going to mess up that child.
It can. It absolutely can.
A child is not going to understand why they are put together, well-dressed one moment, and the next moment they're stumbling and tripping over furniture and not being able to talk right.
Right. Or in the event that there's teenagers involved, can't understand why the person is being overly aggressive or an asshole, or
Right.
can't just stop drinking to do normal family functions. And I have a hard time with addiction emails.
Do you want to do a different one?
I mean, we can answer this. I just don't have anything. There's nothing for me to contribute here. For you to say that, for him not wanting to get help because it's not affecting anyone's life.
It is.
You are literally sending an email to strangers on the internet. Tell me it's not affecting anyone else's life.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got. You need to tell him that you're in therapy for a previous alcoholic fucking marriage, and you're in one again, and it is affecting your fucking life.
Yeah.
That's it. Like you can't make an addict not be an addict.
Yeah, that would be one of those hard boundaries for me. Like, you say this is not affecting anybody. I'm telling you right now it is affecting the person who's supposed to be most important to you.
Right.
I cannot handle this. So there needs to be discussions of, you are going to stop drinking, or we need to start reevaluating where our life is going.
Yep.
I wouldn't tolerate that.
Me either. Got too much history with addiction.
Yeah. Okay, well, I guess I'll pick out another one.
I mean, is there more to that, or is it all about his addiction?
It just ends with he sticks by his decision to keep drinking.
Yeah, so you can't make somebody change. I don't know what you expect us to tell you in that. Like, that's not something that we can really. I don't know. I think the addiction thing is more out of my wheelhouse. Like, I understand there are people that specialize in that shit. If you can't express yourself to your person to make them realize that they're hurting you and they don't care enough to stop, it tells you where you fall in their life. You know what I mean? Like, and if somebody chooses their addiction over their spouse, I mean, I don't know what more you need to know. I don't know. That shit breaks my heart.
Me too. I have another email, a randomly picked one, and it turns out that it's an update because they tried the advice that we gave them.
Oh, okay. This will be fun.
It's titled, Am I Thinking Wrong?
Yep.
So I'm emailing again because I tried your advice that you gave me from the last question I had. My husband and I talked the whole drive on our trip that we are currently on. Yesterday while driving, I tried to ask him to listen and not take anything as an attack because I didn't mean it that way, and I was sorry if that's how I said it.
Okay, that's not how you do check-ins.
No.
So you didn't take our advice. That's absolutely not how that works. That's part of the conversation, but if you're doing a check-in while driving, there's a lot more to that conversation than don't take this as an attack.
Right. I wonder if she says what she said.
Yeah. Let's find out.
I told him how I realized I still haven't fully healed from the previous affair he had. He didn't respond a whole lot, then wanted me to listen to him. That's how that works.
That is how that works.
He listens.
And then you listen.
Absorbs everything that you say, and then he speaks. He told me how I had hurt him so much this past year, and I had made everything go downhill over a kiss. This wasn't the first time that he had cheated. I sat there and listened and just kept saying I was sorry that I had hurt him, and I was sorry that I had done all those things. So that's not how that works.
What was the kiss? Did she kiss somebody else? Are they both infidelity?
Hang on. I'm going to move this, and I'm going to search to see what the first email was. This was the first email. I've been married for some time now, and when I met my husband, I almost instantly fell in love. I saw a loving man hidden behind hurt that others had done to him. I stayed with him through ups and downs and through multiple infidelities. But lately it seems like it's almost coming to an end. Now, I'm not claiming to be a saint. I have done my fair share of mistakes in calling him names and doing things I wish I'd never done. Since I made my mistakes, I have tried to make up for them. I try to show more affection, or I try to tell him thank you often for being the father and husband he is. It feels as if I'm the only one doing that lately. I admit that I have been snappy a lot more on him lately, and I have apologized for it, which I know that doesn't always fix it.
It doesn't ever fix it. Just saying I'm sorry doesn't mean shit if your actions don't change.
But I'm trying to make up for it. I've tried to just talk to him, but I feel as if he doesn't listen. He makes it an attack. Do you have any more advice on this approach? So we didn't respond. That was the automated check-in response.
Right.
So we didn't read this on a podcast.
No.
Okay.
But it still doesn't specify what the kiss was.
Right. So is it he kissed somebody? Did you kiss somebody? So I'm just going to run with he kissed somebody. If that bothered you, which if you're in a monogamous relationship would be an issue, that is a hard boundary that's crossed, you don't apologize. You don't apologize for saying you fucked up, you hurt me. This is not okay.
Right, but there's also a scenario there that he was that he was unfaithful, and she may have done something similar with a kiss to somebody else, and that could be why she's apologizing for it. Either way, that's not how check-ins work.
Right. He then went on to say that he isn't sure what to do anymore, and he wonders if it's better to stay or go.
Wow.
I tell him for me, I will always at least try, even if it's not for me, it's for my son.
That's bullshit.
That is bullshit. You never stay in a relationship where you're miserable for your children because they're just going to see that misery.
Right.
And all of their future relationships, yours is going to be a model for it.
She also just told that man that it has nothing to do with their marriage anymore, that she's only there because of the kid.
Right.
How does that work? That's not, I love you. We've had our rocky time. We really want to try to make things work. Like, you were an amazing dad, amazing husband, whatever. And like talking them up and saying that you really see them and you want to fucking fix this.
Right.
Instead, you're like, we'll try to make it work for the kid no matter what. Boy, that's fucking love.
He has been laughing with the people we are visiting, but hasn't checked on me much. He hasn't really talked too much with me more than once since last night. This afternoon on the way to dinner, I decided to put in effort and tell him he looked nice, and I got nothing back. Maybe I was wrong for hoping it would return. I wonder if I am just looking at things wrong, or am I deceiving myself? What should I do at this point? Should I keep trying or should I just start to protect myself? I need some advice as I don't want to lose my husband and break my family, but I also don't know what to do anymore without feeling like I'm about to break down. So this is not an instant fix.
No.
If for the past 5 years your relationship has been rocking, you guys have been at odds and there's constant bickering, 1 or 2 check-ins is not going to fix that.
Right. And you got to, if you're going to do the check-ins, you need to do them properly.
Correct. If it is constantly an anxious conversation of, I need validation, we're okay, I need validation that you want me, and then it ends with you just constantly apologizing, that's not healthy for either of you.
Right.
It's just a toxic cycle of he feels like he's being blamed, you want validation, you're apologizing because he's blaming you for his actions, and then we're right back up at the top.
Yeah. You both have one foot out the door.
Yeah.
He told you that he's not sure if you guys can make this work, and you told him that you're willing to try for your kid. That's not how you do that.
That's not love.
No.
That is an obligation.
Yeah. You need to watch the check-in video and understand how that works.
Right.
Because just going, I want to talk to you and I'm not attacking you that's not how that works. There's questions involved to get them talking. Like, there's a process there. And if you're going to do the check-ins to try to save your marriage, you got to follow the fucking process.
Yeah. And you never expect anything in return.
No.
There are times I go out of my way to be like touchy and feely with you. And if you're having a hard, stressful day, I don't expect it back because I know your mindset's elsewhere.
Right.
The point of me doing that is to let you know I'm here. I still see you and I still love you.
Right. It's a support system.
I got you. That's it. Now, if you return it, game on. Like, let's see how far we're going to go with this right now.
Yeah.
But it's not always expected. You don't love somebody with
On
the
their good
expectation
days.
of return.
You don't love them on their good days?
What do you mean?
You don't love them on their good days. If it's convenient, it's not love.
Right.
This is stupid to me.
Do you want to just cut the last 2 and...
No, because we're only 50 minutes in. We literally just hit an hour. I don't... When...
You seem agitated.
I am agitated. This email just bothered me.
Yeah.
That
It's misuse of the check-ins.
That statement, I will always try to make it work for my kid, means that you don't love your husband.
Yeah.
And I'm hung up on that. And I got to be honest, it kind of pisses me off a little bit.
That just feeds into the, you're with them, but you don't like them.
Right. Yeah, we're here. We have to make this work for our family now. We have to do it for the kids.
And then they're going to see, your kids are going to see you get divorced after they moved out. And they're going to ask both of you, why didn't you do this sooner? We were miserable.
Yeah. Why didn't you fix your marriage?
Yeah.
And I understand that you're attempting to do that now with the check-ins and you're getting, you have to apologize and he's getting defensive and you guys are having a problem with that because you're not doing it. And even if you did the check-ins right, there's no guarantee that that was going to fix anything. If he's got his foot out the door and he's contemplating a divorce and you're not in love.
Yeah. If I were in a scenario where I wanted to make things work and somebody told me, I don't know if this is worth it anymore, I am not going to then say, well, yeah, I'm only here because we have a son.
Right.
That will not get you to the goal that you want. That is you wanting to put up defenses so it seems like you're not a weaker one, or you're going to mask that hurt of, well, you just hurt me by saying that, so now I'm going to say something to hurt your feelings.
Yeah. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
If we were going through that shit and I was trying to save our marriage and you were like, well, I don't know if I want this anymore, I'm not going to say some hurtful shit. I'm not going to say some hurtful shit and like try to dig at you just to try to eye for an eye the situation. If you really feel that way, we need to discuss that. Because if you don't want to be here, don't be here. I love you and I want to try to make this work, which is why I'm having this conversation. So how do we make this work? Mm-hmm. That's the conversation. Not, well, I'm going to try because of our son. Like, I don't know. That isn't even about the kid. You doing that is you telling your partner that you are not in love with them anymore, that you are literally only here to try to make sure that your kid has a father in life. And why are you doing that? Is it because you want your kid to have a father or because you want him to have the financial stability that a man brings into your life?
That's a good question.
There's a whole lot of questions there. That's a fucked up statement.
Yeah.
And if I'm reading into that, not being emotionally invested in what's going on in her life, how do you think he feels?
Yeah.
already feeling like one foot's out the door.
She doesn't care.
Right.
This one caught my eye, so we're going to read it.
Okay.
Cheating bipolar wife. Good afternoon, guys. I came across your podcast on TikTok and instantly followed on Spotify.
Love that.
And now this is your sign to go follow on YouTube.
Yeah.
I also shared with husband right away because I thought you all were great. Are you the cheating bipolar wife?
Oh, man.
Oh my goodness. Well, to start, my husband and I are both 29. We've been together for 13 years and married for 2. So they got together when they were 16. Sometimes I'm good at math. We have 3 kiddos, 11, 3, and 2. The youngest are both girls. We got together right after graduating high school and were pregnant 3 months after dating. The math doesn't add up to me. If you guys got together after graduating high school, you have not been together for 13 years. You've been together for 10 years.
Why is that?
Because if they're both 29 and they got together right after high school, you're 18, 19. Being together for 13 years, that makes you 16.
They could have been 16, well, 17, 18.
It's not 13 years.
Okay.
Technicalities. I'm calling you on it. I just proved I'm really great at math, guys, so. The rest of the relationship has been rough. I was diagnosed bipolar, diagnosed in June of 2022, BPD, diagnosed March of 2023, and ADHD the same month. That's a lot.
Yeah, we just alphabet soup of people.
It really blows my mind that you can be borderline and bipolar at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, it can happen.
Like, how does that even work? Because my sister has bipolar. I believe it's type 2, which is the more intense one. Like, she gets hallucinations and shit.
Yeah.
So the fact that that can be combined with another mental illness that's just as intense is crazy to me. Like, how does the brain handle that?
I don't know. I don't know enough about bipolar for that to... It's not my illness. I've never researched it.
Oh, I'm going to like delve deep into psychology now and understand multiple mental illnesses in one brain. And the brain's a computer.
Mm-hmm.
And I know how much energy goes into my mental illnesses. And I can see how they can correlate. But those two, just two super intense ones, is... How does it not get fried?
They're normal.
That's wild. It's crazy what the brain can handle. I've always felt like the black cloud in the relationship, although neither of us have been perfect to each other. Unfortunately, I cheated on my husband during the summer of 2022, and it is the biggest regret of my life. I hate myself for hurting him so deeply, despite of how imperfect the relationship was. Nobody deserves to be hurt that way. We started our own separate therapies and been able to work through the cheating. Not completely, of course, but we are in the process. I've always had an issue or the urge to seek attention from men my whole life. I have SA trauma as a kid. Not sure that is much of an excuse, but it's there. That sentence makes absolute zero sense to me. Did you understand that? What?
She has SA trauma as a kid, and she's not sure that is a problem, or that's the reason that she has the need to get attention from men.
The double of that is what's tripping me up, because it's not necessary. Since being diagnosed and medicated for the bipolar, that need for attention has disappeared, and all my focus and attention is fixing my marriage. Every day is such a battle because of my mental disorders. It is hard to find a baseline with my moods, and I feel like such a burden in the relationship. You have something you want to say?
Not yet.
You moved your head like you were getting ready to say something.
Yep.
On top of this, I am unsure of how to regain his trust and live genuinely happy. How do you maintain a relationship or marriage while being so mentally fucked up?
Well, I mean, I do it.
Huh?
I do it.
Yeah, I do it. It is recognizing that your mental illness is not a logical thought process.
It's also not an excuse.
It is not an excuse. It is a constant, daily, is this a logical emotion? How do I react to this? If I'm unsure if it's logical, I keep my mouth shut. Majority of the time, I try to keep my mouth shut. There are times like I kind of definitely have a straitjacket moment. But majority of the time it's keep yourself in check, process what you're going through, and then once you figure it out, bring it up.
I'm curious if the cheating was found because she got caught or because she admitted to it.
That's a good question. The way that you maintain a relationship as marriage is that you be upfront about your mental illnesses. When you recognize your patterns of your mental illness, you need to let your partner know so that they can also be attuned to what is going on with you. If you're going through it, you need to say you're going through it. I'm going to be off today. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but it's there. There's a lot of days where, not a lot of days, but majority of the time when you are having a rough day, that's your answer. I don't know what it is, but I'm going through it. Mm-hmm. How do I gain his trust back while being so mentally unstable all the time?
Not enough information.
Okay.
We don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Are you playing a victim? Are you being psychotic? Are you nagging? Are you throwing things? Are you breaking down crying? Are you cheating still? Are you chasing other men? Are you being thirst traps? Are you fucking...
Are you being secretive?
Right.
Yeah.
Not enough information.
I want nothing more for him to be happy, and I feel like he will never be if he is with me. So he is making the choice to still be there with you. Stop self-sabotaging.
Yeah. I mean, that's part... If she actually has borderline, that's part of it.
Yeah. I can't picture life without him, but if that means peace in his life, maybe that's what's left to do. I also just want to add, he is a phenomenal partner and dad. I couldn't have asked for a better person to be at my side, and I guess that's why I feel like I'm constantly failing him.
Well, you cheated on him.
Yeah, I was about to say, well, you did fail him. And he's still here with you. So the guilt that you're having, I don't want to say it's deserved. You have to go through the consequences of your actions. This is something that you're going to have to learn to cope with. Until he decides that you are no longer worthy of him, you planting the seeds of I'm not worthy to you is going to get him to there faster.
Yep. It's going to create a whole lot of problems.
Did that make sense?
Yep.
Dope.
Because you're making it you're making a problem out of something that's not a problem.
Right.
If somebody makes a decision to stay,
Yeah.
and they're trying to work through the problem, and you keep going, I don't understand why you're with me. Why are you with me? Why are you here?
Right.
Why don't you just leave? Why don't you just leave? I can't believe you'd stay with me. I'm a problem. Blah 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 blah.
Eventually, they're gonna go. You're right.
Yeah, you're right. I'm good. I'm out. Like,
Yeah.
you know how exhausting that is for the person on the other end of that, having to constantly reassure that person who's using that as a weapon.
Like, bro, you cheated on me.
Yeah.
That sounds shitty. You don't get to go, I cheated on you. I feel guilty for cheating on you. I need you to reassure me that you still love me. You made the choice, whether it was emotionally or physically, to step out on your person. You can feel bad about it. They're not going to validate you and you feeling bad, though.
I don't know. They can talk about it, and like you being hurt and showing that remorse is a good thing.
It is.
But
saying I feel bad and I fucked up and I recognize that as the biggest failure I've ever committed in my life, and you're still here, I want you to know that I appreciate that.
yeah, but why would you want to bring that up over and over again? If somebody's healing and going through it, why would you want to, hey, remember that time I cheated on you? I'm really sorry about that.
Quit picking the scab.
Right.
Something doesn't become a scar if you don't let it heal.
Yep.
If you don't let it heal, it becomes infected and it festers. And eventually you're going to have to cut off the limb before it spreads. I mean, now we have antibiotics, but this is Civil War times right now. We're not trying to get gangrene here.
We're cutting off limbs.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny.
Do you have anything else you would like to add?
No, I at this point, I got to be honest. We're an hour and 30 minutes in. We're probably only going to have an hour podcast for this today.
Well, this isn't a podcast. It's
A sideshow, whatever. We had started off reading emails just to get content up. Reading thank yous. It's almost 9:00.
I'm going to order myself Texas cheese fries.
You're going to have to order me some too because it's 9:00 and I haven't had dinner. So I don't want to do any more of this. So I'm done. Like,
yeah, I'm done too.
we
I have
need
a
to-
headache.
I'm going to take my iPad out in the living room and sit down and actually go through those emails.
Okay.
So we really need to figure out what we're going to do with Sideshow. I may not even use this content. I'll edit it all the same and then make that decision.
Yeah.
But I don't want to deal with shit that I can't help people with. Not enough information. Fucking, we've been together for a year and we're having problems.
Right.
We're 17. What do I do? Like, come on, guys. You don't fucking, just because you're dating somebody doesn't mean that they're for your ever person. They could be the most amazing fucking person on the planet. It doesn't mean that they're right for you.
Right.
And if you're having issues a year into the relationship when you should be in the honeymoon phase and everything is amazing, they're not your fucking person. I don't care how much you are infatuated with them right now.
Right.
I'm done. You got anything you want to add?
No.
So then are you done too?
Yes.
All right. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye, guys.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed that, found it entertaining, funny, or even learned something you didn't know before, share it. And if you're not subscribed, why aren't you? And for those of you who want to support us, get access to exclusive content and live streams, we do have a Patreon. All the links are in the description.